Our opening thought comes from Lauren Oliver from the work Pandemonium, Delirium number 2. Sometimes I feel like if you just watch things, just sit still and let the world exist in front of you, sometimes I swear that just for a second, time freezes and the world pauses in its tilt. Just for a second. And if you somehow found a way to live in that second, then you would live forever. For our next 2 readings, I'll be reading from the philosophy of Alfred North Whitehead, because as I was reflecting on time, I thought to myself, I used to really like what Alfred North Whitehead said about time. And so I went back and started reading Alfred North Whitehead on time and realized that there's almost nothing that's understandable from Whitehead out of context. That if you read it in context, it's understandable. So I've chosen what I hope are the 2 most understandable quotes on time by Whitehead out of context. The first one comes from Whitehead's book, The Concept of Nature. It's just one sentence. It is impossible to meditate on time and the mystery of nature without an overwhelming emotion at the limitations of human intelligence. Our next reading is also from Alfred North Whitehead. You know it's getting serious when I bring the philosophy books. This is from his probably most well-known work, Process and Reality. And he is talking about the connection between permanence and flux. Ideals fashion themselves around these 2 notions, permanence and flux. In the inescapable flux, there is something that abides. In the overwhelming permanence, there is an element that escapes into flux. Permanence can be snatched only out of the flux, and the passing moment can find its adequate intensity only by its submission to permanence. Those who would disjoin the 2 elements can find no interpretation of patent facts. 11:35. Thank you for getting that. I appreciate that. What time is it? That's the title of today's discourse, which should be over by 11:45 or so. As we begin a new year, we are often reminded that time marches on. But we rarely take time to think about what time actually is or is not. And I took some time this past week to think about time quite a bit. All sorts of different memories came to mind, all sorts of different images came to mind. I was talking about one of them this morning. There was a band that was called The Time that was around at the time of Prince. If you've seen the movie Purple Rain, there was a famous person, I'm forgetting his name, who used to wear a big clock around his neck as kind of a piece of jewelry as well. Flavor Flav, that's right. Flavor Flav was the one who wore the clock. All sorts of different images came to mind. Alfred North Whitehead, the philosopher, came to mind. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist teacher, came to mind. One of my old professors who's no longer with us, Harold Oliver, came to mind. So all these different ideas and memories came into my mind as I was thinking about time. And so in this discourse, I'm going to focus on the concept of time as an expression of relations. Time as an expression of relations. And also, I'm going to reflect on how we might more effectively use this concept of time to enhance our relations, within community. I think it's helpful for us to not see time as an objective thing. Here I am along with Thich Nhat Hanh and Harold Oliver, my professor. I agree with both of them. Both of them did not see time as an objective thing that is, quote, out there, end quote, but rather to see it as a way of measuring and organizing relations within our experience. What is most important is the enhancing of the value of our relations with one another and the rest of reality. If time is used in such a way that we enhance those relationships with each other and the rest of reality, that is a good use of time. If it's used in such a way that we are damaging those relations, that's a bad use of time. When we say time is of the essence, time is of the essence, for example, what we really mean is that our relations are of the essence. Our relations are of the essence, and the concept of time helps us to organize our experience and our actions to optimize those relations. I think this is why the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh taught that time, as we perceive it, past, present, and future, is simply a mental construct. True reality exists, Thich Nhat Hanh affirms, in the here and now. The focus is on being fully present through mindfulness, through relations. And if you've ever read Thich Nhat Hanh or heard Thich Nhat Hanh, he gives all sorts of examples, right, of how we can be fully present in the moment no matter what we're doing, whether it be smiling, eating, or even washing the dishes. Harold Oliver, my professor from Boston University from my graduate school times, agreed with the Buddhist views on time. He was looking more at the Japanese Kyoto school of Buddhism, but very similar view of time as not being real. Time is not real. The past is memory, and the future is anticipation. All that really is the present. And Harold Oliver would say, the present is relations. That which is real are the relations, not time itself. We think about time in many different ways, depending on the kinds of relations we are attempting to understand and organize. So as we look at different relations and try to organize them and understand them in different ways, we have different views of time. We think about time in a linear way, past, present, future, when we are trying to organize our activities in relation to others, and as we remember the past and anticipate the future in the present moment. We think about time as opportunity, time as an opportunity when we think about the need to accomplish something of significance. So we often say time is running out. We're not really talking about time. We're talking about the opportunity to do something significant. That's what's running out. We think about time also as the spirit of an age. Zeitgeist, as the Germans call it, which is literally translated the spirit of the time. We think of time as the spirit of an age when we are trying to understand the defining characteristic or the defining characteristics of a period in the past or closer to the present. We combine our notion of time and space, our notion of time with distance, when we seek to understand the relations of the various aspects of our vast universe. Think about light years as being an example of that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. I think that the most helpful way to think about the concept of time is that it can help us, it can assist us in enhancing the value of the relations that we have. It can help us to organize and understand them and therefore enhance the value of those relations. I mentioned light years as an example of how we use time, and we measure time in terms of light years and distance in terms of light years, and we're focusing on how the speed of light is measured in units derived from our planet's orbital relationship to our sun, right? So it takes 1 year for our planet to orbit the sun, and a light year is how far light travels in that period of time. If someone came from another galaxy or another solar system and we tried to use that concept, we'd have to explain that it was related to our context, right? Because a year to them would not be the same as a year to us. And so a light year would be completely different for them. But it's a way of understanding our place, our context within the universe, and to understand the relations that we have with the cosmos as a whole. It provides us with a way of understanding relations across vast distances that we would otherwise be unable to organize in our minds. And even though we think we are organizing it in our mind when we talk about light years, we really probably don't fully grasp just how far that is. But light years do not objectively exist in reality. They are a temporal construct. They are a mental construct derived from our relational experience that helps make some sense of our cosmic relations and our place within them. Chronos and kairos are two words that were used by the ancient Greeks to signify time. Chronos signified time in the quantitative sense, as in our use of the word chronological, right? Chronological has that root word chronos in it. But kairos is qualitative in nature. Kairos as time signifies a right or opportune moment. A right or opportune moment. In this kairos sense, time is a time for the human community to take action, to make use of an opportunity to take an appropriate action. And I would argue that today it is time. It is a kairos moment for us to take radical action, to care for our world. And I can use another Greek word there, our oikos, which is what the Greek word that was often used in ancient Greece to talk about the world. And oikos simply means house, our household, to see ourselves as being a member of one world house. Yes, it is kairos for the oikos. It is time. It's an opportune time to take radical action to care for our world. Because for the first time in our chronological history, we are facing a time, and I've talked about this many times, so I won't belabor it too much, but we are facing a time of mass extinction. We're facing a time of mass extinction that can be attributed to one species, right? And hello, we are the species that this mass extinction is being caused by. All of the previous extinctions, and there have been 5 other extinctions in the past. We are in the 6th great extinction. All of the previous mass extinctions have been the result of natural events that cannot be attributed to any of the species of life that existed in those previous times. There was no opportune moment or kairos moment that presented itself in any of the other great mass extinctions. The dinosaurs could do nothing about the climate changes that led to their demise after that massive object hit the Earth. Species living at the time that the continents all came together to create that one massive continent called Pangaea could do nothing about the shifting tectonic plates that created such a landmass that led to massive drought in the interior of that massive continent and a massive die-off of life. All 5 mass extinctions were neither caused nor could they be avoided by the species of life in existence at that point in time. The 6th great extinction that we have begun is the only mass extinction primarily caused by one species. It's the only one that potentially might be avoided by the activities of one species. However, if it is to be avoided, now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the kairos moment to take action for life rather than for extinction. It is kairos to take care of the oikos. It is time to care for our world house. And now it is also kairos. It's also time for us to move into a time of radical actions, bold creativity, and reformation of what it means to be human. Reformation of what it means to be human persons in the larger ecological community of life. I'm hopeful that future generations will look back on our generation as being a great generation. Sometimes I try to avoid that word great these days for obvious reasons. But perhaps they can look back at our generation as being a great generation because we recognized that it was kairos. It was that kairos time for our world. But here's the great challenge that we're facing today. Precisely when we need to grasp this kairos moment of opportunity, in our chronological time, we are moving in the opposite direction. In our chronological time, we are continuing to act in ways that are damaging rather than enhancing our relations with one another and with the world as a whole. Instead of embracing an open future and the possibility to move towards justice and greater human and ecological flourishing, we are clinging to attitudes and systems of the past that have failed humanity in the past and that are failing humanity now in the present moment. This past year, and even just the past day, have been a stark reminder of what happens when we repeat the most horrific mistakes of our past, when we repeat the worst mistakes of our past in the present, in such a way that we are greatly diminishing the future. Yes, time marches on. Time marches on. But it is not a given that the future must repeat the mistakes of the past. We have an opportunity to take this kairos opportunity to find new and more just and peaceful ways to move towards a more beloved community. The direction in which time marches is up to us. It is up to each and every one of us. And we all have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to learn from the past, to transcend the mistakes of the past in the work that we're doing in the present, and to move forward to a more just and flourishing future. May it be so.